All right.
Hello there. This is Mama Mary, the Soul Diva, connecting with you from across the Golden Veil. Thank you for tuning in to Wayne and I for Cryptic Frequencies as we raise the vibration of the universe one pulse at a time.
Come to me when you need to fall apart or come together. When you need to scream or to sit in silence. If you need to laugh or to cry, or to eat all the comfort food, or to go on a wild adventure. Whatever it is that you need, you are safe with me. You can open up yourself and spill out all over the place, and I will celebrate whatever part of you that I get. I'm Mama Mary, the Soul Diva, and welcome to Cryptic Frequencies. It is great to see everyone. I am a psychic channeler, energy worker, and healer, which I do out of my shop in Hastings, Michigan. It's called Across the Golden Veil. Today on Cryptic Frequencies, we are definitely trying something new, which is streaming live. And we're going to be streaming to all of you, which is actually makes us pretty magical. And since we're moving with that vibe, it's only natural that our next guest is just as magical as we are. And trust me, we're going to need a lot of magic. We've needed it so far. She is a physical medium, a psychic reader, paranormal investigator, a remote viewer, and she's not only been well known within the spiritual community for 20 years, she is also well admired and loved. When you connect with her, you can always expect to feel the energy flow. She's pure magic and one of my best friends and soul sister. Kristin Roberts Psychic Medium, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. It's a great day. Good weather up here. How are you doing today, Mary?
Good. We're hoping that Wayne can join us. His signal's a little iffy, so I'm watching to see if I can bring him in. But great. The weather's beautiful, gorgeous. Can't complain. Not really.
Oh, I see him.
I see Wayne. Hi, Wayne.
Hello. I must have phased out during that intro. I talked about the friendship and how the poem that you read that you two share.
It's special.
It is special. Definitely. She's one of my favorite people.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And we've had a long history together, I would say, with many, many, many more years to come. And I just remember the first time we met, and I just love my Mary. I do. And how long has it been now, Mary?
Oh, geez, what? 5, 6 years at least.
Yeah.
6 years. It feels like it's been longer.
It does. That's what happens when you hit your soul sister. I feel like we've been connected for a hot minute. So I wear the jacket you made me. The soul sister. It's got, yeah, I do.
Even though I spelled it wrong
all the time. It makes me feel like I'm connected with you. I like it. So yeah, we have a lot to cover today. I'm not sure how long we'll be here today, but we'll, tackle things. And if people have any questions about what we have, they can come up on here and talk. Right, Mary?
Yep. I'll be watching Facebook, and then anything that they have to ask, I'll put through to you.
Okay.
All right. Let's see here. Oh, Nancy McLean says hello.
Who says hello?
Nancy McLean.
Oh, okay. All right. I know who you're talking about. Hi, Nancy.
She was asking earlier how she was going to connect. So let's talk some spiritual talk. Our favorite topic. You're always teaching me stuff, and your knowledge base is so far surpassed anybody that I know. Like, I know that I can spend time with you, and not only are we going to have like a great time, we're actually going to delve into the spiritual realms, and you always learn something new.
Yeah, there's such a, I mean, that's a powerful word, just being spiritual, and just being in the know, and describing your spirituality is unique for everybody. That's different. Everybody has a different rhythm, a different energy to add to their growth of what they want to do in their life, and mine is to help, and yeah, it's a lot of changes physically, mentally, emotionally. It can go up and up, and it can go down. I mean, you're in a constant roller coaster, I would say, for the first 5 years of your spirituality, when you're in it to win it, you know?
Yeah, because when you tell the universe that you actually are ready to open and to grow, that you have to go through like this whole new journey of dealing with all of the past pains and hurts, and the universe loves you, but it's definitely going to bring up lessons for you to learn along the way, and you have to decide if you're ready for it. It's a lot of work.
It's tons of work. And you know what I find, Mary, that a lot of people, the younger generation, okay, I'm going to say younger, I'm in my 50s, and they just want their power now. They just want to feel like there are people who have gifts, but there's a lot of learning. You just can't go in it with just, I want it now attitude, and it takes patience. Even if you feel like you've got your gifts and you feel like you're down pat with it, you never are. It's just a stepping stone to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. That's your journey's kind of mapped out. So you're just going to have to figure it out as you go along sometimes, and just do the due diligence and getting it down pat, and taking it slow. And if you have questions, I find that it's hard to find the right person to teach you, and you have to have a right mentor sometimes, and that's hard to find. That's a credible resource, that's been in it, done it, seen it, and I know with what we've done, I've seen you miraculously just hit it, girl. You're hitting it, and everything that you do. Yeah.
Well, that's because I've had you as, a major source to go through anytime, I had a question. Now, the one thing that I haven't been able to accomplish like you have is remote viewing. So exactly how do you do that and do it so well?
Well, I can teach you. That ain't hard to do at all. Anybody can do it.
Really. Those people that want it right now.
Oh,
no, I want it right now. I don't want to wait. That's the Aries in me.
Yeah, I started out remote viewing, and I didn't know I had the skill until I tapped into it. And there was a website that we were taught on. God, it's been so long. I don't know if it's Remote Monkey or something monkey. And so what it was is it gave you numbers, all right, because I like numbers, so I was okay with it. So then you get a white piece of paper, and then on that paper, you would write down the numbers that are given to you on this website. So then you start taking your paper and you start writing like the first number is a 1. And then you just focus on the 1, 1, 1, 1. And then what's coming at you? Symbols. What do you see? And I just start making a picture of it, right? Of whatever comes off that 1. And then I'm like, okay, I'm good. The second number all the way to 7. And then when you're done, you got a piece of paper that has all these different symbolisms on it. I don't care if it's the water, a tree, people, a river, the sky, the moon, whatever it is that those numbers give you. And when you were done, you'd hit this button, and this button would give you the actual picture, the longitude and the latitude of that picture. And then it validates what you drew or symbols off that. So that's how I got taught. I'm like, ooh, I really like this. I connected. But then it went deeper. Spiritually, I started tapping in and remote viewing when it comes to paranormal investigations. And that's where I, before I get there, I write down the hot spots of where I think paranormal activity is. And then I just go into the house, but I ask the owner first before I can do it. I always, that's trespassing to me if I go into their house without asking. So I ask them, is it okay to tap in? And they say yes, okay, before I come. So then I look at it, and I can tell the whole energy flow, the format. I can actually walk through the house and see what's happening, right? I enjoy that a lot. And then I got really good with everything as far as, I think it tapped into where now, again, it went up higher again. And then I noticed probably about 5 years ago, I started seeing things through people's bodies, okay, like their health and their bones, or if I see a dark mass of paranormal within somebody, right? So then I start seeing the entity of the black thing, and I try to remove it, and I'm like, okay. So then I see people that have health issues, cancer would represent to me a lot of brown spots in a bone, right? Or if they're having, I see a lot of blood flow in people's body. It's just cool, so it's taking it up a notch, and that starts out with remote viewing. Then I can actually X-ray kind of like people through them. I don't know. That's where they took it off, and that's where I ran with it, I guess. Yeah. So I don't know. Remote viewing to me is essential. I think everybody should get that. Did Wayne say something?
Yeah.
Can Wayne hear me?
I think Wayne's kind of in and out, but I can hear you. I can hear you just fine.
Okay.
Another quick question. I remember an old friend of ours, Margot Mikan. I remember her telling me a story once about when you guys were in a circle, and because you're the physical medium, and that you actually took on the spirit and your face changed. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that? You crazy woman, you.
Okay, I have a feeling I know who said that. Yeah, it's called transfiguration. And I like the transfiguration of when that happens in a private setting. I like doing that, seance style. And I haven't done it in a while because it does physically, like for a couple of days afterwards, I'm just like that ectoplasma. I'm just, coughing that crap up. So, yeah. And then I think I scared a couple people in that seance. And they were just, I can see her face is changing into that guy she's talking about. And my voice box started changing into the voice of spirit. So, yeah, that was cool. I've had that happen now a couple times over. In the beginning, I had a lot of spirit trying to run through me. Oh, how that pissed me off. But, when they take your breath away, when you're walking somewhere, it was, and then that happens and they come in like a Whoopi Goldberg ghost thing, And so I'm like, oh, that pissed me off. So I told them no, and then it got smarter about it. And being a physical medium, I do have different modalities on me, different tools, stones, necklaces. My mantra before I go into a building, if I know it's going to be haunted with darker spirits, I kind of have to do a protection thing before I walk in. And so it doesn't overcome me. That's about the bad thing with physical mediumship. And but I wanted to explore that more. There was a guy named John Lelich. I met him. He was an amazing psychic medium. He has passed over since we talked, and he made the cones, ones that you can talk, like with spirit, they're metal and
Yeah.
they're like the same shape, right? And they collapse, right? So John created some, made some, and I bought one from him. And so I try to use old style mediumship to get some of the older spirits tapping in, you know, through a live seance or something. And it does work. It takes patience to actually have that happen. And but it does. And then it enables you to talk to spirit, and they can come through, and their ectoplasma comes through the tunnel through that. And so I use them in my seances sometimes. And I think that mediumship, I haven't had to use it in a while as far as that part of it when it comes to transfiguration, which is fine. But being up north, I don't know that many people that are mediums, you know. And when I was living in Springport and living down there, all I knew was medium, so we could always connect and come out and get a seance going. And do you remember the one I had in Springport where I had a woman's? I had 2 tables in my living room all set up and a bunch of people in there. Yeah. And we always do something fun, and I can't wait to get up here, to get my girls up here and do the women's retreat. My she shed's almost done, and so I should be able to have more people come up here and do some classes. And that'd be nice having you come up for a weekend, Mary. I'd love that.
Yeah. Hey, Wayne, are you connected now? Can you hear us?
Poor Wayne.
I feel bad. I could see him smiling. So now this intrigues me, because when I look at my crystal ball, I always think about the crystal ball you have at your house. So tell me a little bit about the process of, like, I look at my crystal ball, I'm like, I should name you and do some of that witchy stuff that Kristin did with you, but I just don't know how.
Are you talking about Maribel, the big one? Oh,
yes.
Okay. The big one, the big Gahona. But I like them all different types. I connected with that one, and I believe that crystal balls are, again, that you see things into and that are brought to you by messages, right? And it just helps sometimes validate what's already in my mind, and I'll see it again. Just like crystal balls have a certain energy.
I hear you, Matt.
You have to work with it all the time. Do you work with yours?
No, I just look at them. I have a lot of them because Denny bought me a bunch of them.
Yeah.
But I just look at them. I got a big one. I got a medium size.
Hear me?
We can a little bit.
No.
Can you get through?
Yeah, the balls you have to, it's called scrying. It's like no different than a black mirror. Some people have a black mirror that they use. I actually found one at a barn, and I bought it, and it was a blackened mirror, and that's pretty cool though. That's scrying too. There's different types, and then you just basically have to have your mind has to be open to receive the message. So that's nice. I don't use them so much, but I do bring them to my events in case people feel comfortable. A lot of people just like crystal ball readings. You know, I haven't met that many that like crystal ball readings. I only have a few people I know that do them, and so they're hard to find. You know, women, or men that do the crystal ball readings, and that takes a lot of patience and time. And when you're at events, usually people don't want to wait too long for a symbol to come over. You know what I mean, or get there, or be patient for the message. So it's like tea leaf readings also too. It's all about symbolism. Let me see.
Yeah, it's all about interpretation, really.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Which one are you looking at? My okay. All right. Well, my husband just gave me something to tell you. When it comes to crystals and holding information, he says the scientists use a sophisticated laser to encode the information into minuscule formulations known as nanostructures. inside fused quartz. The structures after the way the light travels through the glass, allowing the data to be read, especially through optical devices. And that's a scientific approach on it for people that want the science on it. And yeah, I know that I programmed crystal balls too. And I've done that. I did that last time.
Like crystal can hold information.
Yeah, it does hold all your information. So when I programmed it, I had me and a couple girls do it, and I bought it. It's probably the size of a softball, and it was clear quartz when we did it. When we started out, so 4 of us put our hands over the ball and over, and we all just kind of like took shifts all the way around and throwing in our juju into the ball, all right, and whatever we wanted to put into it. And when it was done, it was actually, I couldn't believe it. I was seeing rainbows and specks and dots and different things. So when you turned it, you could see all different kind of messages in the crystal ball. And I had a shaman come over to me, and it was sitting next to me, and he's like, and he looked at it. He goes, "What the heck is that?" And he was looking at it. He goes, "What did you do?" And I said, "Well, what do you think?" And so he was looking at it, and he's like, "Well, you guys programmed the heck out of this thing." And so then he took me over to another place that had these plates that I wanted more of a geometric, more something to do with latitude and longitude again, about the power of sequence and angles to put into the crystal balls, like a power slab. I'm not sure if you've ever seen one, but I bring it with me in my events, and it's if when you want to amp up something. And so he gave me that, and I was using that, and all of a sudden that crystal ball took a form of its own. So because I had more power as it was enforced with it. So spirituality is cool. You can go in different ways, but crystal balls are cool. I can't believe you brought that up.
Well, I think I know you so well. I know like all the things that always intrigue me, about you. A quick side note: we have Gail. She's watching us. She says hi. Up north, Gail.
I didn't hear you.
Gail, I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Guggen? She's going to hate me now forever because I said her last name wrong. The one we went up and stayed with up in just across the bridge last year before COVID hit for that fair.
Huh. I'm not sure. So what is your question?
She's just saying hi.
Oh, okay.
I'll just tell you who we have watching. And then Tim Brown and one of my friends, Mickey, she's listening to us.
Okay.
So people are listening.
I can't see the people. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Down there feeding. So hello, everyone. Thank you for coming.
Now, something I've noticed, like personally, with my readings and just my meditations and my vibrational work, everything has completely increased in my vibration. Like it's a lot higher than I ever was before, but it's like I've leveled up. When I do my readings now, I actually do connect, in a mediumship way. I actually hear voices, and it's more confirmation when I'm giving my readings. Just like at the last psychic fair that I did last Saturday, everything was just, it was rock, and everything was just dead on, and actually pulling spirit across, which is not a gift I've ever really been able to tap into. So I wanted to get your take on what you thought about like the leveling up and the ascension spiritual wise, what as a collective whole, we're all going through. We just don't realize it.
Well, the ones that don't, shame on you.
That,
I know that. Well, that's because you're stagnant in your old ways of the third dimension. You know that the third dimension has shifted to the fifth dimension. Everybody should know that. It's been that way for a while now. So when we left our old ways, our old way of thinking, our old ways of psych, right? Our lower energy levels were at 3D, 3-dimensional. Okay, that's what you see in front of you. And we had a lot to do with mind. Okay, it was able to 3D effect. Now we went into the heart chakra. Okay, that is went into the fifth. and that creates a higher. And I mean, there's more to this than what I'm going to say because it's too long to know. But for the essential part of it, you know, when we as spirit workers, healers, anything in this industry, it has shifted, and you're getting downloads, because I know that when I've talked to people all over the, you know, the different countries of close net mediums or psychics I've talked to, it's the same thing of what we all have been saying. And that's about everything in the world moving to a higher ascension, higher energy, higher knowing, a spiritual tapping into of higher dimensions. Our goal is to be in the 9th dimension. Our goal is to be there in the, you know, now. And to get there is your goal. And that is by increasing your energy and taking care of yourself. And if you're not spiritual, then you need to be doing whatever it takes to get on a routine of higher energy, removing the drama, things that won't heal. You need to forgive and move on, and control the heart. There has been, in the last year and a half, with a lot of readings and a lot of people I've talked to, have disengaged in a lot of marriages. There's been a lot of divorce. There's been a lot of upheaval because a lot of people don't know how to handle the fear, the anxiety, and the unknown, and change. Those are things that human beings cannot adapt to very well. So, and you have to be patient with yourself and have a solid foundation of where you're going in your goals in your life. I don't care what they are, just do something. And there's a lot of people now that are not working that could work on being a better human, a better person in this life, and resetting yourself. Flip your switch is what I call it this year. Flip your switch and getting in the know of what makes you grow as a good person. And I mean, it's different now. The energy is, because I'm telling you, when I see you, all I want to do is hug the hell out of you. And I don't want to let you go. It's just that we have not been around that so much up here. And as far as people touching each other has been incredibly sad, because humans need to touch, and they need the love, and they need the affection, and they need to correspond with people. And when you've been disconnected with that, you lose a certain part of who you are. And I don't care what you got to do, just get to the higher ascension of your spiritual growth. If that means reading more, actually finding new ways to understand your spirituality. I don't care if it's a non-denominational church, start reading books, get into know your guides, getting to know meditation, getting to know what you're putting in your body and your health. And your health is a lot, because if you're not taking care of it, you will not get higher in your ascension if you're not taking care of yourself. And you should not be working when you're not feeling well as far as your spirituality. If I'm having an off day, I may meditate or use my singing bowls a little bit, you know, just to get the vibration up higher. I love my singing bowls. So do you. And yeah, well, I've been working a lot with different hertz levels, and this year has been incredible. Learn about hertz on Google or YouTube, and they have different things that you can learn about how you're taken into your head and how it can balance out your chakras in your body, that kind of thing. Be in a total alignment with your mind, with your heart, your chakra, everything, all the way to grounding. And you know what? You're a Reiki master.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Well, tell about that. How important that is, Mary.
Well, it's really important, because our chakras are wheels of life. So, and basically, it doesn't matter if it's good energy or bad energy, those chakras are continuously spinning and pulling energy into them. And so if you don't clear and ground, then eventually you get so much stuck energy that you end up getting sick, or you're tired, or you just can't function, or you start to have, debilitating issues. Root chakra, that's somebody who wouldn't feel secure. So they would either be controlling, but they would not be able to, they'd be flighting all over the place, but they wouldn't be able to feel safe and protected and at one with themselves. The sacral chakra, that's all about, feminine energy and creativity. So if it's shut down, then you're less sexual than you normally would be, or you can't paint like you used to. Solar plexus is personal power. Do you control too much, or do you allow other people to control you? The heart chakra is, do you love too much, or do you completely shut people out? Because the heart chakra is the bridge from the solar plexus to your throat chakra, your third eye, and your crown. All three of those are actually, that's your spiritual, that connects you to the spiritual dimensions. That's where when you work on your chakras, you raise your vibration and brings you into your spiritual awakening naturally.
Amen, sister. I'm telling you. Look how smooth she did that. This woman's in the know about that. I say you have the most healing hands I've ever that have been on me. And I'll tell you, when I would go through my events in a year, I'd be all like, I need Mary, just to replenish, because it's hard. It's hard when you're feeling like junk, when you're just tired all the time and you feel no energy getting out of bed, and you just got to take it one day at a time, start walking more and just doing what you got to do to replace what you've lost. And especially when it comes to like negative energy. That takes a lot. Like, I can see negative energy pretty quickly in a person, sometimes because it's the aura and stuff like that I see around them. And then you can see someone that has light energy, and you see the light around hopping off a white background. Like you're in the white energy behind you. You're like, the dark energy kind of swivels, and I don't, I kind of like, go around. I don't like to be around negative people. I can't. Being a very empathic, intuitive person, I pick up, and that's something you got to warn yourself about. When you're so intuitive and so empathic, and that's another spiritual thing that you have to learn, along with being protected and knowing what the right steps are and which direction you're going in. I take pride in the quality of people that are around me, and that I think is good suggestion is, if the last year and a half since all this came up with the COVID and being around, and the people that have been around you the most in the year and a half that have supported you, will keep them if they're for the high and greatest good, right? Of course. But the ones that have fallen off, that haven't been there to pick up the phone and say, hey, how have you been? What's going on with you? I would not worry about that right now. Stop worrying about things you can't control. Control the fear and the anxieties. I know a lot of people now that are on medication because of that. Okay. Okay. Now I see that. I'll ask both questions.
I have people wanting me to ask you a question. So Rick wants to know who your mentors were.
About the what?
Who are your mentors? Like, you're my mentor. You've taught me a lot. Who is yours?
My mentor?
Yes.
Well, I don't have one. I am the mentor. But I learn. But I'm not afraid to learn new things. And there has been some amazing people out there that I've stumbled upon. They're no longer living. Go figure that. And Dolores Cannon. And I just tripped over on her on TikTok that I just discovered a month or so ago. And Dolores Cannon, her and I have a lot of similarities. I'm like, who is this chicken? She's talking just like me. What the hell? And so she has written over 20 books, and she did a lot of past life regression with people for over like 50 years. And so she took a lot of her studies and she recognized everything, but I know she's gifted. It hasn't brought that up in anything that I've read so far about her. But I don't know, right now she's on my kick of things to learn about. And that talks about the convoluted world that we're in. And she wrote 3 or 4 different books on that. And I mean, they're amazing. I just like look at her like, what the hell? So how do I know the same thing that you do? But again, when you get the downloads, and then you're in sync with other mediums, you're in sync with what the divine, the source has in mind for you. And I call it the source because the source is what's connecting everything and everyone. And the more that you're in it, and the more you're tapping into it, the more and more openings and opportunity and growth will happen along the way. And that's what's happening with you, Mary. And along your spiritual journey is you're connecting to a source at many different levels, not just one level, Mary. You're just like boop 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 boop. She's just like she does a direct connect. You do a direct connect like I do when it comes to spirit. And yeah, I like dialing up. And I know Wayne's father came in for him. I was gonna give him a message today, but even if I don't give him today,
he's listening. He's watching. He's not in, so go ahead and give him the message.
Well, okay, I'll get to that point, and don't let me forget before we end today. Okay, what's the second question?
Well, Nancy, she says she struggled a lot this year through all the isolation. So her concentration hasn't been there, and she's been feeling really dizzy. In fact, she's dizzy now. What are your thoughts on that?
Girl, you need to do a 360.
I'm just kidding. I love you, Nancy.
Well, the dizziness is because she has compressed herself into that situation where she's at. When you have compressed yourself and you're in a bubble, right? And it has nowhere to go but being in circles all day long. Just a different day, same station, everything. So when you're off balance, yes, it could be new medication. I'm not going to rule that out, especially with me. I know because I deal with many ears, and not many people know that. That's an inner ear thing, and so medication and making sure that you are doing different things in strides to get out of the normal. And if that means okay, you're dizzy, then you means eat better, check what's going on with your doctor, of course, but then check your spirituality. Dizziness, your dizziness is just basically you're unbalanced because your brain is right now is not leveled out. Your brain is unbalanced. So they're telling me to tell you to go ahead and look at different ways to do exercises to balance out your body, because I almost feel like you're bent in one position more than the other. So you have to basically start working in stride, start doing yoga, meditation, and stretches, and learn how to get your body in balance again. And yeah, well, I got more to add to that, but that's a whole different reading. So Nancy, you can text me afterwards, and I'll go ahead and give you more information on what you could do to help your balance out. But she needs to definitely get out of her circle and get out and start doing more. If it's walking, down the block and back every day. And I just feel there's like a definitely a connection on her right side that is making her wonky. And so, yeah, definitely work on balance. And there's different things that you can do. So by working on that, and I'll tell you more later, Nancy.
All right, I have another question. My friend Amy Bray, she wants to know what's the difference between a psychic and a medium?
Well, that's quite a bit of difference. A psychic is being intuitive, and it has more things than just being a psychic. There's a lot of different areas in being a psychic. It's all knowing, and some psychics are broken down to different layers too, depending on what their skills are, right? Because there are some psychics that are just good at it, but then they use their cards as tools, to help them get messages, like what they need to know when they get events and stuff. This is all knowing. And then you pretty much know pretty much if they're lying or not. That's being very intuitive and using your clairs, that part of that. And like, and it's a lot of intuitive, like your gut instincts. I work with my spirit guides, okay, because I'm being a psychic medium. I mean, you're born with a guide, and we'll talk about that because we were going to mention that about the changing of the guards or the guides this year because of that higher ascension, right? We'll talk about that next. So when you work at a psychic level, you basically have to, it's just a knowing of something that's happening around you or about somebody that you've picked up, or like, you know, the phone's going to ring a minute, then the phone rings. Okay, that's that old scenario, right? It's being intuitive based. Learning that and skilling that is up to you. A mediumship talks to people that passed over. That's a big thing, and that's the way I do. Because again, mediums, everybody has a different way of doing things. My mediumship, okay, I'm about 99% of the time I can bring them up, even if they have committed suicide, and those are the hardest ones to bring over, is suicide of people that have taken their death, you know. So when I talk to them, I go into the energy, right? Because we're talking about energy work. So mediums, when I go to talk to somebody in person, I will hold their hand to connect their energy with mine. Okay, that's also. And I can connect with the ones that are loved, ones that have passed over. I deal with people that, like, could be generation to generation of spirits of family in your life. It could be a message from your angels. It could be a message from your guides. It could be a message from anybody that's coming over. Or it could be a message for someone that you know in your life that needs the message other than you. So both are very valuable. They're very valuable resources when you have a reading with them. And mediumship is something that, okay, I used to see them all the time, right? I see them all the time walking around me. And I couldn't handle that. I'm like, oh, snap, Grandma, I can't handle the shit. I said, what is that? She's like, well, honey, she gave me a journal and says, don't bother your mom and dad right now. But she gave me a journal to start writing things down. And she's like, if you have any questions, come back to me. I'm like, all right. So, and then I would say later, they stopped coming in because I'm like, you know, to the source. I'm like, God, you know, it's like, I can't handle seeing all these dead people. It's flipping me out. I got kids to raise. I got things to do. I feel like I'm interrupted all the time. So then I started seeing them in my third eye. I would say the last 15 years. I have seen them, though. I can see them in shadow work and stuff like that. But I know I can describe them, you know, right down to a T for the most part, who's coming with me. Sometimes I'll get names, but I just go ask them, who do you want to bring over? It's like your dad. Your dad is a very powerful figure, Mary. You know what I'm saying? So he's always around you. So never doubt that. Yeah. And then, so now say you want to give a message, but I'll go later on that. So mediumship, the spirit will give you messages, even if it's for closure. You know, in the paranormal, you know, when I follow spirit, sometimes I can feel them, of course, and then they'll take my hand and lead me to an area that I need to go. I work well with children's spirits. I enjoy that a lot. I see animal spirits all the time, see them like coming and going, you know, and there's different ones out there. But I think it means basically you're given information and you're tapping into different resources that you have, that your knowledge can give you of what you've learned. Because you won't know what you're dealing with until you learn, right, Mary? Okay,
That's right.
If you question something, learn about it, okay? It's a resource of information that you got to tap into. It just gives you the ability to give a complete message to the living. And at that point, I'm healing the living, but I'm also healing spirit. And so either way, it's a win-win situation, I feel, So, and, intuitive psychics, I think a lot of it is like we get messages from that we get tapped into, right, Mary? And then,
Yeah.
So when we tap into that source, I mean, nothing's worse than a lot of people come to my events and they're not prepared with questions. And when they come in, do you know the lottery numbers? I'm like, dude.
Yeah, doesn't work that way.
No. Okay. Do you see me, Rich? No. Okay, here. Watch. I have Mega Millions. I'm playing tonight because you just got to take a leap of faith to what the universe is going to give you and what they're going to bring you. And what your guides are giving you messages. Like, I'm a firm believer of gatekeepers. I love my gatekeepers. My gatekeepers are the ones, and we'll talk about that more, that I gave him a job. Okay. So he has to go in there. And sometimes I get bombarded with a lot of spirits I got a whole family coming over. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. So I have to put him in what I call a holding room. And that holding room, I asked my guide to shuffle them around and only give the ones today for the highest message. Because it could only be like a 20-minute message, that I'm giving you. So that's not very long. It goes by really fast, doesn't it, Mary?
Yeah, it does.
It does. So, and then the guide then brings them forth, the ones that are sending only the important questions, because I don't want to waste my client's time nor mine. I'm in it to give a healing. I do phone readings right now, all the time. And, you can go to my website and check it out. It's KristinRobertsMedium.com. I have to update it. I need Mary to update my website. She's very techno-savvy. I get her electronics and I can't take her crap. She's laughing. She knows me. We were chatting for a few minutes. I couldn't even sign on. I'm on this stupid new iPad and I had to download stuff. I'm like, oh no. Or it seems at the last minute if something's going to happen, electronic happen. So that's funny. But go ahead, Mary. Your turn.
Oh, Amy wants me to ask you if you can sense when spirit is connected to heaven or hell.
Oh, yes. I don't like, ooh. Well, remember we were talking, Mary, about the vibration, right?
Yes.
And yeah. And the lower vibrations are going to be the darker entities, right? Some can hide or switch it up if they're trying to fool you and stuff, but they can't fool me because I already know I see them. So, and the good energy is usually the lighter energy of spirit, of good spirit. And I focus on that. And usually the lower vibrations, I ask my guides to flag me entity that is not there for my greater good. And I won't go to some investigations because of that. I'll hire the big guns. I'll get Rebecca Smoke, the Motor City medium. I'll get her out there. And I'll let her do the connecting on that. Yeah, and but she can also remote over the phone and help, and I can do it that way. But truly, when you're connecting with spirit, the minute that you and I are talking, right, about this particular spirit, it's like snap. All of a sudden, they're there, and all of a sudden, now it's become real. Because I can do that off a picture if I'm looking at spit or something's wrong, and I know something's wrong, and I can read a picture even. And that's psychometry too when you touch things. I'm not sure what it is. What it is, Mary, when you see something in a picture. Is there a name for that? I forgot. I'm having a.
I forget what the name of it is.
A what?
I forget what the name of it is. I just call it reading the picture, really. Yeah.
Yeah. When I look at pictures, I'll give you a scenario. What happened to me? I was on Facebook, right? And I was on a paranormal site, and I was scrolling down, and I don't even know why I was looking at that stupid thing. And this lady was saying, "Can someone help me?" And I'm like, "Oh, snap. Okay, well, let me see what's going on." And I'm looking at the picture, and I see this girl with a baby, and then I see this dark entity on the back side of her, right, on the back end of it. I'm like, oh, snap. Okay. So I text her and I'm like, is this woman still online? And she's like, yes. I'm like, okay. I said, let's talk offline. We can do this tomorrow. And she's like, perfect. So I gave her my phone number because it was already getting late. Well, that night, Tom and I are sleeping, right? We both get up. It's like, bam, we wake up, we both sit up, and we both are like, what the hell was in our room? And all of a sudden I knew it was that chick in that picture. And I'm like, oh, no, you didn't. You came into my room. So I was like, okay, I'm going to deal with you tomorrow. You know, I'm going to talk to you and I'm going to talk to your mom. And she's like, okay, I'll leave you alone. But that's how mediumship works too. You're like a beacon in the night and spirit finds you.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they have certain ways of protecting your home, right? So anyway, yeah. So I called the next day. I talked to the lady, and I was talking to her. And I'm like, okay. I said, your daughter's passed over. And she's like, yes. And I'm like, okay. Well, she came into my room last night. I didn't like it, but she came in. And I described her, and she's like, yeah, that's her. And I said, she's missing, isn't she? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, well, let me tell you what happened. And so, and that's why I've done investigations of finding people that are missing people. I've done that too. I like that. But so I told her that, I said, a lot of things started at home because you working in the black magic. She took back a little bit. She's like, how'd you know that? And I'm like, oh, well, okay. I'm a psychic medium. Let's talk about this. And so we get into it. And I felt, that she put a lot of burden on herself. And I'm like, well, I said, have you stopped working in the black arts? And she's like, I have not. And I'm like, well, okay. I said, that's too bad, for her, because she was doing the wrong things, not the right things. All right. Mm-hmm. So that is why daughter left. And then her daughter got into a bad situation. I'm like, well, who got shot in the head now? She's showing me someone got shot in the back of the head. She's like, oh, that was just an old boyfriend of hers. And I'm like, God, all right. I said, well, she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I said, I see her being buried next to water and by the river. And I said, you know where she's at, because she's been by that river before. And she's like, then she stopped. She's like, and she put the name to it, and I validated it for her. So again, that's how spirit works. Okay, sometimes you just tap into a picture to wrap this up, and it turned out to be almost a 3-hour conversation after that one picture. So it can get real, and doing what we do. So.
Yeah, but it's so healing and helpful to people to find that closure when you can give them information that they can't tap into themselves. So a lot of times, I always try to tell people that, spirit's never really gone. It's just the vessel gave out. It's a different form of energy. And if they could, learn how to meditate and tap into that spirituality, they learn how to tap into that spirituality and know that, like, their loved ones are not really gone. They're just, a different way of being there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that healing.
How many levels do you think that, okay, because, they say hell on earth, heaven on earth, whatever. The earth, right? All right. The earth has basically broken up, right? It's broken up this way and making it into different multiple earths of different things. That's a whole different subject. And then there's different evolutions of different scales of heightened awareness of spirituality all the way up to the source. So I know that some people want to be at the highest possible spiritual level. But I think that you need to focus on your goals and what you want to do with your spirituality too. Because if you're a healer, then you got to heal the people and understand them and to be able to give messages out to heal them. Okay. That's a responsibility of being able to give them the right message, not convoluted, or if you don't have a message please just tell the person you don't have a message and send them on to someone that can, right? That is something that would benefit a lot of people. In this industry, there's a lot of people that don't have their heart into it, but they still do it. And as far as what they need to do, getting like psychics or mediums at different events and different things. Like Amy Allen, she has a course that you can take. Allen, the paranormal, Mary?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
When I was talking to her, it's a show, the Paracon, right? The last couple of years. And she has these spiritual classes you can take. And I understand that you can find them or get them. You have to, I suggest taking them. And we did. I mean, I was with Nancy, I think several years, and working at a non-denominational church. We did that. And that's how I got my being ordained, a lot of it, because we spent a lot of time. I think 2-3 times a week we were going. It was crazy. It was crazy mad.
Yeah, and see, I love Amy Allen, and I love the Dead Files show she does. What is it on the Travel Channel?
Yes.
Amy Allen. And
what's the name of that show?
Yeah,
The Dead Files.
The Dead Files.
The
Yeah,
Dead Files.
it's a great show. But it amazes me when she goes into those houses and, she connects the way she does. And Wayne wanted me to ask you, she works with a private detective. Have you ever worked directly with the police to help solve a case?
What was the question again, Mary? You spoke really fast. I'm sorry.
Have you ever directly worked with the police to solve a case?
Yes. Actually, I worked with the mayor of Lansing at one time because he was trying to solve issue. So yeah, I went with him. I talked to him a couple of times. That was probably about that was a hot minute ago, at least 5 or 10 years ago. And Eaton County, there's a couple of people there. A mom that again, a missing daughter situation. Not missing. She was found dead, and so they didn't have a means to the end. So we did that investigation, and she ended up dying in the woods. And we went right to the woods and figured out where she died and everything. That was one. So there's closure there, but the police department didn't want to give it too much energy because of, I guess, the young lady's background. She had a very kind of bad background, so they didn't want to give it a lot of energy. And so the mom needed closure. So that was nice. And yeah, I've helped with other cases with other mediums that, I'll do a lot of that. I'll do a lot of background stuff to help them on a case. No notoriety, I don't want it. I just want to see what they're tapping into. So if there's anybody out there that may need that closure, or maybe I can give them something to work on to build off that evidence, or something that they missed on the case that they're trying to search for, that would be nice. That's, again, part of remote viewing, tapping into that. And that's a lot of skill that usually I will, I went into the Jewett house before that paranormal investigation, Mason, Michigan, one of my favorite places. And that's when things started manifesting as a medium. Okay. Now, what I mean by manifesting is there was a little boy there, and it's an awful story. But it had one of those. I had the okay. I guess going into it, it was a morgue, and I'm like, oh snap! I'm a medium going into a morgue. This is not going to be good, or it's going to be really good. One of the two. So, what, Tom?
It was a funeral home.
Yeah, it was a funeral home, but the bottom of the basement used to be the morgue where they would hold the bodies and some of it and carry them out the back door, or the funeral home, I should say, some of it. So this little boy grew up with that, and he was almost like an adopted son, and he ended up dying at after his leg, he was pushed down the stairs by a family member and broke his leg. And of course it got bad and he ended up dying. So in that particular investigation, the actual MSU film company came out for that one, the cameras and all that. That was pretty fun. And they broke us up in a couple of groups. But my group ended up going down in the basement. I hate basements. Oh my God. I hate basements. I got to get over that fear, but I hate spiders, man. It's not the ghost, it's the living. It's the spiders. I don't like spiders. Anyway, so we get in this small little room, right? It's small. I don't even know what it was. It was just a small, closed off, dirty floor, and along with 4 walls. And then I asked the little boy, and I started talking to him, and I got all empathic and boo-hooey, and I started crying a little bit and tearing up because I felt bad for him. But I told him, I said, you know, please give me your message because I'm here for your greater good. I want to know, I want to heal you and see if I can get you to cross over, right? And he says, well, thank you. He told me to look down, and the guy actually got it on film, and this cross, pretty cool ass cross, had a chain on it, and it bubbled up from the earth and then it plopped down. I'm like, whoa. And then the paranormal investigator grabbed it, and he just to make sure it was a real thing that he could touch it. And I said, well, thank you. I said, you didn't have to give me a cross, but that's pretty nice of you. Blessings to you. You can cross over now. And then he says, look down again. And then everybody had a penny, a copper penny at the bottom of their feet for pennies from heaven. So it's a validation that he crossed over. So that was nice. That was a good story.
Okay, I have a question for my daughter Skylar because I can see that she's watching.
Okay.
So, are you familiar with the story of the Axe Murder House?
The what house?
The Axe Murder House.
No, it doesn't mean I haven't heard of it, but tell me about it.
Well, it's basically, it was probably, I think, back in the 1800s, and I think it's in Idaho, the house is. And
I got murdered.
A family that was murdered by an axe. So I was going to ask you for Skylar who did it, because she's always trying to figure out who did it, but maybe we can do that in a different episode.
When you were talking to me, shall we connect? I got like a man. No, okay. I got like he was like in a almost like a mechanic uniform, like in a one-piece job, right? But I just feel like he worked with his hands, but I also feel like there was some kind of an axe or there was some kind of instrument used in the death. Can she validate that?
Yeah, it was an axe.
Oh, see?
See?
See, we got the direct connect. But yes, I get that. And that person was insane. That person was insane, like totally insane. Not right in the head, totally off balance. When I talk to someone that's on balance, I want to cock my head. Someone that wasn't chemically into it. He was like, this person had no emotions, no empathy, and I think that's where darker spirit took over on that particular person that committed the murder. And let's see, I'm tapping into it now. And he says, I'd do it all over again. See, so, yeah. Where's my cross? So, I'm just saying, it's only because it didn't mean anything. They were just in their way. The people that are around him, that wrong place, wrong time. And he flipped a switch at that particular moment and gone. Yeah, there was a lot of big write-up on that. I feel like a lot of it was written about that scenario.
Yeah, I'll tell you the house now. It was the Villisca Axe Murder House. Okay. Now, does it ring a bell? No. It's a pretty big story.
Oh, okay.
Or at least to the people who are interested in that. We're almost out of time. But before we go, I wanted to ask you, for Wayne, what was the message that you're getting from his father?
Oh, Okay. Man, it went by that fast, Mary. Dang.
I know. We're over an hour already.
Okay, Wayne. But this is from me to you. Okay. And then later, if you want to text me, you're more welcome to, and feedback if you have it. I can't hear you. I'm just going to go off from 2 pages that I wrote down. Okay. The first one is health issues for you, Wayne. I want you to pay attention to your heart and your legs. It's almost like your hereditary kind of things happening for you. There are factors to deal with your veins or capillaries. Again, I feel like the blood is pushing through really tight on your veins. So just start walking more, making sure you talk with your doctor. You're going to feel a little bit more of that coming on in the near future. So be mindful of that, of what's happening. Heart smart, taking care of yourself and getting healthier. Now, the message from your father, I have that he played a heavy role in your life. He's very strict. He's very strict to the point, boom, just right to the point. He says that he was a loner most of his young adulthood, that he was good with money. So I'm validating right now for you, Wayne. He says that family, when it comes to family, and he kind of like, he hung his head up high, it's like he was very proud, when it comes to dealing with family. And I think that he could have loved you more, did more for you. I feel like he's got a lot of wish he could have, would have in his life towards his family. And I see that he also had a lot of issues with his heart issues or coagulation of his health too. So you may get a lot of issues from him or your family or that issue. And he says he wish he would live a little bit longer. It's almost like he got cut in life too, because his choices of how he dealt with his life. And but he says, he wanted to let you know that as he sees you as a grown man, he's very proud of what you've become. And when he's around you, I almost get like he smells like cigars or smoke, like he smoked or something when he was younger. Okay. And when you know that he's around, he's got like a musky smell to him too. You know what I'm talking about. And he said he was sorry for what he didn't do for you, but he says he's laughing. I was a little bit on the heavy side, and I probably should have looked at my weight and worked at it better. But back then, men didn't really go out to the doctors and that kind of thing. And he likes that you have your values and the way that you're doing things in your life, the way that you're thinking. He goes, but now and then you got to enjoy life. He goes, I liked my beers. I see him pulling back a beer or whatever. And I got something earlier about him having a patch on his arm, like he worked in some kind of military, not Navy. And then he gives me some kind of honors or pins along with that. And that's all that he had that made him feel proud about who he was and what he stood for, as far as he's very passionate about that kind of thing, about being American, doing American things and doing the right thing and the 4th of July and celebration and stuff. He liked that kind of thing. Now, he says that he's very, very thankful and happy for you that you overcome a lot of fears that you had. And it took a lot of courage, he said. And you became more solid as a man, and taking that time out for yourself. He said that's so important right now. And he shows me fishing. He shows me in a boat, just a simple boat, taking your line out and do fishing, just enjoying life, underscore, exclamation. And we can talk later if you have any questions for him. And now, as far as from me to you, you will be making some big changes this year, and a lot of it has to deal with money. So, like big purchases purposes, like either changing up your home environment, doing something to it, purchases as far as automobiles, campers, something big, okay, something that you've been wanting to do. But before you do that, I want you to step back and look at the big picture. What's heading your way down the road. I want you to kind of plan a little bit more for the future. That's necessary right now for you. And I want you to take a plunge because there's going to be some changes coming up in the next 6 months. There's going to be an awesome opportunity that will present itself to you. I want you to take a leap of faith and do it. And you got to stop overthinking. You got to stop overthinking. And that's so that way you don't miss out on the opportunities, because you'll think yourself right out of that opportunity, and that's not good. And I just don't want you to be in it for the minute. When it comes to things that set your heart on fire, I want you to be able to enjoy it and be more simple with your life and take strides on as far as being, I think, more quality instead of quantity, and getting the definition of what makes you unique and what makes you stand out when it comes to what you're doing as far as broadcasting, marketing, doing some more stuff like that. So that's the message for him for now. We can talk later, Wayne.
Right now, he does want to validate for you that he does have a condition in his legs called peripheral arterial calcification. So he just wanted to validate what you were connecting with. Before, because Wayne gave me a final thought, but before we do that final thought, do you have any upcoming events, anything you want to do a shout out to?
I got so many events I can't stand it. I did post them on Facebook under Kristin Roberts Medium, and you'll see me handy to just know that I'll be up here this Saturday, Hippie Fest at Holton Lake, and Port Huron on Sunday. You're going to be there too. I get to see you this Saturday, Mary.
I know, excited.
Yeah, and
I'm
then
still trying to do something the night Friday.
Yep, and then here, let me look at my post. Let me look at my post. I have to get on Facebook to know where I'm going. I do. Okay. I see you every time I open up my Facebook. I see your face everywhere. You're getting to be quite big. I know. So let me see here. I have one coming up. I got the Port Huron, and you can see that on Facebook. And then there's they're going to have actually bands there this weekend too. That should be amazing. That'll be a lot of fun. Oh, here's the other one. I'm also doing a gallery with Rebecca Smuck. That's through Rhonda Spears and Jason Spears, and that's going to be at the Haunted Heights Paracon that they're putting on May 21st and 22nd. The 22nd is when that's Saturday that we're going to be doing that. I think the tickets are, $25 for the gallery event if you want to partake in it. And then for May, I think that's a lot for May. Yeah, 5/15 is Peace, Love, Hippies Festival in Lapeer on May 15th. Yeah, Witches Day Out is also in October, Holton Lake. That's a 16th. And then that's like on 10/23, Witches Day Out. 11/7 is a Mid-Michigan Paranormal Convention. That's in the Sioux. And then Haunted Halls and Mickle Marketplace on 11/7. That's another big venue that's going to be in Flint that I'll be doing. And that has another gallery style readings for that event. And I'll be doing readings that day. That's a Sunday. So that's it. And then I have other small things that I'm doing with people in the community. And yeah, there's another one coming up in here. I got them all over the place. So you got to pay attention to Facebook. Yeah, there's a lot of things that I'll be attending to this year. So yeah, KristinRobertsMedium.com, Kristin Roberts Medium for Facebook, and then that should, and you can have my personal cell. You can give me a text, and we can work out a time to. That's 517-930-4306, and then just text me, and then we'll work out a time for a reading or a psychic party. So I don't know. That's it, Mary.
Well, You're a busy woman. Okay, so this is our final thought.
Okay.
Do dead loved ones visit people who are on their deathbed?
Do I give readings for people that are on their deathbed?
When someone is passing away, do their loved ones that have already crossed over come and visit them?
Well, of course. I mean, if they're on their deathbed, they're hanging out there anyway for a while. They're not going nowhere for a hot minute. They're circling around like, what the hell? In my body. So, but they're there anyway for a couple of days or so. So if someone's, you know, ready to cross over, you know, I always try to make sure that I get a sign from them how they're going to make sure they connect with me, you know, in this life. And I wish them a lot of good things when it comes to someone that's not spiritual, that just wants to help them cross over. And you know that you've had to do that a couple of times. So, but yeah, I mean, I would talk to them as if they're right there all the time. Doesn't make a difference if they just passed over or they've been gone for a while. I mean, celebrate their birthdays. They don't want to be forgotten, for God's sake, you know. Spirit always wants to make sure that they're around you. They are. A lot of times they are when you're sleeping, because it's when your ego is not the way of getting in the message. And they'll visit you in your dream state. Just welcome them. I celebrate them on holidays. I'll put their picture out or light a white candle for their birth month. And I pay attention to them because your ancestry is a very powerful tool to use in your spirituality. And how you can ask them to help. And that's a whole different program, I guess, Mary.
We'll have to do another one then. I definitely believe that, especially when someone's crossing over, their loved ones come and, you know, visit them before time, and then it's there to help them cross over when it's time, so that it's more of a peaceful journey and a little bit less confusing for the soul when it first crosses over.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Just send them as much in light to the source, and you know, I just ask for validation when they're around, and for my mom too. And so she does her validation when spirit's around. She'll tell me when she's around, and just ask them, you know, if you can talk to them. Well, if you're around, what do you want to show me? What can we know so I can get a message from you that you're around me? And they'll tell you, or just make something up when you're around me. You know, show me a sign you're there. Just something, a validation for you.
All right. Well, that's all that we have. Thank you for everybody that listened and asked questions and tuned in. And Wayne, super sorry you couldn't get through, but glad you're still listening. We'll have to do it again. We'll have to have a do-over. But bye, everyone.
Bye.